and welcome back to the Marley Bird YouTube channel, as well as our friends over at Joann.com. In this video, we will make the Knit Go Around Fair Isle hat using our brand new Caron Colorama Ogo. Yarnspiration's Caron Colorama Ogo yarn is tangle-free and a quick start. No longer are you gonna pull the center of your skein out and have a big old pile of yarn barf. Instead, you'll be able to snip, pull, and stitch your way to happiness. It can't get much better than that, but oh, it does. This is a free pattern available at yarnspirations.com. I've put a link in the video description box right down there below, and while you're down there, please smash that like button, as my kids say. All right, when you have your free pattern and your yarn, grab those needles, your stitch marker, and we'll be ready to cast on and make this really cute hat. The Knit Go Around Fair Isle hat is a beautiful hat with a pretty traditional Fair Isle stitch pattern using all of the different colors of the Ogo, which a lot of you might be thinking, well, how are you going to use those different colors when they're all put together in one Ogo? Well, here's the trick with the Ogo. As you separate this Ogo apart, you can actually pull each section of color away from the other sections. So let me show you how that is done. First thing you'll do is remove the cardboard packaging from the Ogo. Right here on the inside of the packaging, you will notice that it gives instructions on how to pull the Ogo apart, but I'm going to show you that right here. As you have your Ogo, you will simply pull apart the center and you're going to see what looks like a plastic tag that usually holds like sales tags or something together. And you're going to snip that tag, all right? So we're going to snip that tag. Now, this plastic bit, we want to pull it out of the center of the Ogo. Now, one thing I didn't understand when I first saw the Ogo is I thought there was something inside here, like this was all wrapped around like a foam tube or something, and it is not. This is 100% yarn, like this is all yarn in this Ogo shape, okay? Now, the biggest thing to make note of this Ogo is you want to pull the yarn from the outside of the Ogo, all right? That's where this is going to be different than if you're using like a skein of yarn where we tend to try and pull it from the inside. This Ogo is meant to be pulled from the outside. Can you see this? How it just flows directly off of the Ogo. It doesn't move. It just comes really tangle free. It's really easy to use and it just keeps on flowing. So you can pick up your hook and your needles and just keep on going without ever having to stop. Now for us, we need these individual colors separated out so that way we can make this Fair Isle hat. Well, you might be thinking, well, how are you going to do that, Marley? Well, let me show you, okay? It's really great because you come up here where these two colors meet up and you separate them apart. Okay, we're just going to pull them apart just like so. And you're going to see where the two colors meet here. You snip that. Okay, so now this is still in a usable form. Just set that aside. And I'm going to start with this color down here, right? Or actually, we're supposed to start with this color. We can do whatever we want. Okay, now remember what I said. You want this to pull from the outside. So this is going to be our yarn that we pull from this one. So I'm going to set that there. Come up here, separate our color, and snip where the two colors meet. This is now a usable Ogo still, okay? This is still a usable Ogo. There's my end, and I go from there. And you would do this for all of the colors, okay? The great thing is you don't have to rewind this yarn at all, okay? So it's still wound up in the Ogo style, the Ogo format. So it's still going to flow from the needles really nice and neat. And we have different chunks of yarn. If we did not separate our yarn like this, we would just get natural, big, bold color block stripes in our yarn, okay? So if you just want to Ogo with the flow, so to speak, and you're not doing something with Fair Isle, you can just work the yarn as it is on the Ogo and let it go from one color to the next as it naturally transitions. Now right here at the end, obviously we have the same color that we started with, so we want to make sure we pull that out, find the connection. we can just put this right over there. So now I have 5 distinct balls of color just by separating out the Ogo, making it very easy to make a Fair Isle project with 1 ball of yarn. You no longer have to buy 5 balls of yarn to make 1 Fair Isle project, which is really, really super convenient and great, okay? So now that we have our 5 colors separated out, we're ready to jump in and begin with the brim of our hat here, which is a 2x2 knit pattern. So it'll be 2 knits, 2 purls. And we'll start off by casting on in the round with a smaller needle. So go ahead, grab your smaller needles and a stitch marker. I do prefer to use 16-inch circular needles, but if you want to use double pointed needles, you absolutely can. Let's go ahead and get started. And here we go. In the interest of making my hat a little bit different in the colors, I'm going to use the first color we pulled off of the Ogo for my brim. I am going to use a pair of 16-inch circular needles because I find them easier to use for Fair Isle versus double points, but if you want to use double points, you absolutely can. Go ahead and place that slip knot directly onto your needles, and we want to cast on 64 stitches. So for the long tail cast on, we want the tail of the yarn over our thumb and the working yarn over our finger, and we want it to look like a slingshot. Then you go ahead and go up the thumb, down the finger, through that window right there on the thumb. You see that window right there on the thumb. So you come through that thumb, off your thumb, and give it a pull. Up the thumb, down the finger, through that window, and give it a pull. And you want to get 64 stitches. Once you have all 64 stitches on there, go ahead and grab a stitch marker and place it directly onto your needle. You will now join to work in the round. Before you do this, you want to make sure that all of your stitches are going the same direction, that you are not accidentally twisting your cast on. So the best thing to do here is with your long tail cast on, you have this really nice ridge here. Make sure the ridge is pointing to the inside of your circular needles. Make sure nothing is twisted around and you'll be good to go. Go ahead and working into that slip knot, so the very first stitch you put on your needle, we will go ahead and begin by knitting 2 stitches. So I will go into the stitch and simply knit the first one. That joins to work in the round, and then I continue on and knit the second one. Now I will go and purl 2, so I bring my yarn between my needles to the front and purl 2 stitches. Purl 1 and purl 2. I want to knit 2, so I bring my yarn between my needles back to the back and I knit 2 stitches. Purl, bring between my needles to the front and purl 2 stitches. In case you are a continental knitter, I'm going to show you how to hold the yarn in your right hand. When you go to knit, you bring your yarn between the needles to the back. You will knit 2 stitches. When you go to purl, bring your yarn between your needles to the front and purl 2 stitches. When you get back to the beginning, you'll slip your marker and continue on in the knit 2, purl 2 ribbing for another 7 rounds. It's at that point you will break off this color and continue on to the next color. Let's go ahead, finish the brim of your hat, join me back here, and we'll continue on with the Fair Isle in the round. Completed all 8 rounds of your ribbing, it is then time to transition to your color E, or whatever color you want to use for this portion of your hat. We are also going to transition to our larger circular needles or double pointed needles, and we will do that as follows. The right needle that you would normally keep in your right hand, go ahead and just tuck that away. And as we continue on working in stockinette stitch, we are simply going to use our larger needle and our color E. So you will then just transition all the way around here with your color E. And when you get to the end of the round, your larger needle will have all of the stitches on it, and your smaller needle will be ready to just be put aside. As you get to the end of the round, go ahead and move your marker over. You'll see that your smaller needles are now free, so you set those aside and go ahead and continue on with this color you're using and knit another 3 rounds. The body of the hat is made up of stockinette stitch all the way around, even when we go into the color work. So get really used to just knitting in the round, whether you're continental or English. Once you finish with all 4 rounds of your color E in plain stockinette, it's time to transition to the color work on the body of the hat. And in order to do that, we want to bring in our chart. Now, this particular chart is only for 16 rounds, and that's right, that means the body of your hat is only 16 rounds. Really doable. It's also a 4-stitch pattern repeat. You will repeat those 4 stitches 16 times to complete 1 full round. So once you've completed those 4 stitches 16 times, you will then transition on and go to the 2nd round, and then you transition on and go to the 3rd round, so on and so forth. For these 16 rounds, you are using 2 colors for each round, with the exceptions on round 7, 8, 9, and 10. For those rounds, there's only 1 color. Now, you can follow along with the same color sequence that was used on the sample or go rogue, just like I did. You could use any color combination you want. But you do want to hold 2 colors of yarn together as you're working around each of these rounds. And I want to show you how to handle those 2 colors, okay? So for me, I'm going to go ahead and continue with white as my color E, and I will continue with this blue color as my color C. This is actually color C. As you are working these stitches, you have a choice. You can hold the yarn in one hand, so let's just knit 2 stitches with the yarn in our right hand, and then drop that color, and then grab the next color that we're supposed to use for the next 2 stitches. Let me grab my tail here. And then knit 2 stitches with this new color. Make sure you're not using your tail. All right. So then you would drop this color, pick up your original color, make sure it's going over top of the new color. Okay, it's not underneath it, it's over top. And you will knit 2 stitches with this color. All the while, you're making sure that this float is not too tight. So you got to make sure that these stitches are nice and spaced out, okay? So you knit your 2 stitches with that color. You would drop that color. And when you go back to this one, you want this one to go underneath. See how it's not on top? You want it to go underneath. This will prevent your yarn from twisting around itself, okay? This will prevent your yarn from twisting. So you knit those 2 with that color, drop that color. When you pick up this one goes on top. The blue goes on bottom, the white goes on top, okay? So this is what you would do if you need to drop the yarn each time. But there's another way you can work these stitches, and that's by holding one yarn in your hand like English and the other yarn in your hand like Continental. And as you knit around in this manner, it automatically places your floats in the place they're supposed to be. So my blue will always be underneath my white. And it makes it so that I don't have to drop my yarn or my needles each time I knit. I simply make sure that my stitches are nice and spaced out, And when it's time to knit with my white, I will use my white. Make sure everything is spaced out. And when it's time to use my blue, I use my blue. Now, I know that this is a tricky way to hold your yarn if you're not used to it, but I will tell you this pattern is a great pattern to give this a try with because it is only a 4-stitch repeat and it's pretty darn easy to keep your place as you're going around. Okay, let's go ahead and continue to repeat these 4 stitches all the way to the end of the round, at which time I want to show you how you will transition to round 2 and continue on with this stitch pattern. As you come to the end of the round, you'll notice that you end with your 2 blues, slip your marker, and as you continue on, you will now read from your round 2. But let's take a peek on the inside real quick. I want you to notice that my floats are nice and spaced out. You don't see them all crunched up on each other. My stitches are actually able to space out a little bit, and that's because my floats are nice and relaxed underneath each other. You'll also notice that my white yarn float is always on top of my blue all the way around. I kept that consistent. My yarn never gets twisted at any one point, okay? That's very important. In order for our hat to fit, these floats have to be nice and spaced out. Otherwise, it will not stretch around our head. It'll stay nice and close, okay? So we want those to be nice and spaced out. As we look over here and we look at our row 2, we're going to do 1 stitch with our color E, 2 stitches with our color C, and then 1 stitch with our color E. What this is going to do is essentially stagger our stitches, our colors, right? So we had 2 blue here. Now we're like moving our blue stitches over 1. So once we get past these first 4 stitches, you'll see that the pattern is pretty easy to remember because it's still 2 whites, 2 blues, but they're just moved over a little. So I start off with 1 white and then 2 blue. Don't worry if that 1 stitch there gets a little big because it's a float. Once you weave in your tail here, that will tighten up. That'll be just fine. And then you go to 1 white. Make sure you still keep all of these stitches nice and spaced out, okay? That float needs to be nice and spaced out there. Now we continue on. 1 white, 2 blue, and 1 white. Notice we are now like 2 whites, 2 blues, 2 whites, 2 blues, all the way around. And I will do that until I get to the end of the round, at which time I will then transition to the 3rd round. It's pretty easy stuff, okay? Given that the body of the hat is only 16 rounds, this should not take you very long at all. This is a larger weight yarn. We're using bigger needles. The hardest part here for you, oops, as I mess up there a little bit, the hardest part I think is going to be working with the 2 colors if you've never done that before. But take your time. Give this a try. If you've never held the yarn in both hands, this is a great pattern to give this a try with because it is only 4 stitches wide. All right? So go ahead, finish the body of your hat, at which time we will transition to the crown, which is very easy shaping because it's just some simple decreases worked around. And then you finish off this cute hat with a pom-pom if you want. All right, I'm going to keep going and you do the same. As I mentioned, once you have finished the body of your hat, it's time to move on to the crown. And that is just a fancy way of saying it's time to shape the top of the hat. And the shaping for this hat is very simple. It's just done with some very easy decreases. And as we work those decreases and the stitches become too snug around our circulars, we will transition over to double points if you are using circulars. If you're already on double points, you're already there. You don't have to stress about it. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to jump into the first round of our decrease on the crown. We continue on with the crown decreases with our color B. So this was color E, this was color C, this is going to be my color B. Obviously, I went a little bit different. You can do the same. And with these decreases, we're going to use a center double decrease. So you will start off by knitting 7. And now we do a center double decrease. You will take your right hand needle and go into 2 stitches as if you're going to knit 2 together and slip those off your needle. Then you will knit 1 stitch off your left hand needle. And now using your left hand needle, grab those 2 stitches that you slipped off and have them jump up and over that 1 stitch you knit. That's called a center double decrease. Okay, now we will knit 6. And continue on with our repeat. So we go back to star and we knit 7. And now we do our center double decrease. Slip 2 stitches as if to knit 2 together and slip those off. Knit 1. And then pass those 2 slipped stitches up and over the 1 you knit. Go ahead and carry on with a knit 6. And that's the end of that repeat, and you work it again. Once you finish your decrease round, on round 2 and every other round, you are going to just knit. And it's at this point, I'm going to go ahead and transition over to my double pointed needles. So I will remove my stitch marker and grasp 1 double pointed needle. And just like when we transition to these larger needles, move this right needle out of the way and hold your double pointed needle in your right hand. And go ahead and knit onto your double pointed needle. When you get some stitches on there, go ahead and grab your next needle and continue on. You want to try and evenly space the stitches the best you can around the 4 needles. Once your stitches are evenly distributed around 4 needles, your circular needles are free and you can set those aside with your smaller ones. Now you will grab your 5th needle and you will continue on working your decreases around. So we want to make sure that we are working our decreases just around all of these stitches. And when we transition from one double point to the next, we want to make sure that our stitches from one needle to the next are nice and snug. That will prevent any sort of a ladder, okay? So here we go. I have 14 stitches on each of these needles, just in case you are curious, and I'm on round 3. So I will knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I will do a center double decrease. So I slip 2 stitches as if to knit together, okay? Knit 1, and then slip those 2 stitches up and over that 1 stitch I knit. Now I will knit 5. I'm to the end of my needle. I make sure my stitches are to the center of my needle here. rotate around, get to my next needle here, and continue on. So I'm at the start of my repeat, so I will knit 6, work my center double decrease, and then knit 5. Knit 6, center double decrease, knit 5. This is my last needle and my last repeat, so I knit 6, center double decrease, knit 5. Once again, I'm on an even row. This will be round 4. I guess I should say rounds instead of rows. And I will simply just knit around without any shaping. So I'm just going to knit all the way around. We are now on round 5. Once again, we're going to work these decreases. And you'll notice that we have fewer stitches, obviously, because we're decreasing down. So I start off here with a knit 5. Then I work my center double decrease. And I will knit 4. I'm going to continue on in this fashion all the way around and continue to work my 1 round even and 1 round of decreases until I get to the 10th round. I want you to do the exact same thing. When you get down to round 10, you'll notice it's no longer a knit 2, a center double decrease, and then knit 1. We're going to work knit 2 togethers all the way around. So we are simply going to knit 2 stitches together all the way around for a rapid decrease. So once this round is done, we will not be decreasing anymore. We will simply break our yarn, thread our yarn through the live stitches, and then pull it snug like a drawstring. So let's go ahead and work our knit 2 togethers all the way around this round. It's going to be really fast because you're decreasing all of the stitches. So we're going to go from 24 stitches to 12 stitches right here at the end. It's pretty nice when it gets down so quickly. You don't have to fiddle around with a bunch of little tiny stitches. We just get a decrease right on down. It's my last needle here. And there we go, maybe one more. There we go, that's my last knit 2 together. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn, and I'm going to leave a nice long tail that I will then thread through these live stitches and pull close like a drawstring. Okay, so I've snipped my tail. I will grab a bent tip tapestry needle. I love these. They are super handy to use, and I'm simply going to thread my yarn through that bent tip tapestry needle. Now, working in the same direction as I was knitting. So I'm going to go to the first stitch I would be knitting again. I'm going to go into each stitch as if to knit, and I'm going to show you why. I go in as if to knit and I slip that off. Go in as if to knit, slip that off. Go in as if to knit, slip that off. pull my yarn through those stitches. Go to the next needle. As if to knit, as if to knit, as if to knit, pull that through. Go to the next needle. As if to knit, as if to knit, as if to knit, pull that through. Last needle, as if to knit, as if to knit, as if to knit, pull that through. Now, I'm going to show you why I do that. When you go through those stitches as if to knit, it just gives them a little nice little twist. So when you pull your yarn tail and those stitches come closed, you get a really beautiful top of your hat, okay? So if you didn't want to add a pom-pom at the top of your hat, this makes for a very beautiful finish. Can you see that? It just looks very pretty. It makes me think of like, you know, when you pucker up for a kiss or something. I just love the way that finish looks. And you'll see here, I'm just taking the tail and I'm threading it through those stitches just one more time. But that will not be secure enough because that does not like really weave in the tail, right? It just is pulling those closed a little bit more. When I am done doing this, I will thread my tapestry needle to the inside of the hat and actually weave in this tail to secure it. So I'll pop it right down to the center, pull it to the inside of the hat, just like so, and then secure it to the inside here. So once you secure it to the inside, then it's going to be nice and safe and it's not going to come undone. All right. You also have those little tails that just tried to pop up for me there that you might not have woven in yet. Go ahead, take a second and weave those in once you're done weaving in this particular tail on the top of your hat so that everything is nice and closed. Then I want you to make a pom-pom with the remaining yarn you have. Do you have to make a pom-pom? Absolutely not. You don't have to. But right now, go ahead and weave in all of these little tails you have, okay? Just give the yarn a little pull so it makes sure that that stitch is not like super loose on the opposite side, and weave in your tails, okay? Once your tails are woven in, as I mentioned, I want you to go ahead and make a pom-pom with your remaining yarn. Now the pattern itself actually has you make a pom-pom with the yarn you didn't use. So for my hat, I didn't use this color, okay? I didn't use this color, but I decided, you know what? I love that I used all of these colors and I added them together and I made one large pom-pom combining all the colors. And when I make a pom-pom like this, I love to make it removable. And I do that by leaving a nice super long tail when I trim the pom-pom up. And I use a very large big hold button. And when I secure the pom-pom to the hat, I will put the button on the inside and tie the pom-pom so that way it is removable. Let me show you what I mean here. Okay, so I'm going to do this before I weave in the tails so that way you can see how it's done without having to wait, okay? So here's the top of my hat. That's how pretty my decreases are. Look how beautiful those center double decreases look, okay? I can go ahead. I'm going to use my tapestry needle for this, and that's why you want to make sure that your button has a nice big hole because you want your tapestry needle to be able to go through the holes of the button, okay? So I'm going to put the button there for a second. I have my yarn here that's attached to my pom-pom. I'm going to go ahead and thread each tail individually onto my tapestry needle, and I'm going to put one tail on this side of the top of the hat and the other on this side of the top of the hat. So it's like I'm going to straddle that center hole, okay? And I'm just going to do that by pulling that in just like so. I'm not going to go all the way to start because I won't be able to see the other side, okay? So I pull it in just a little bit, then I thread this one. I'm going to go to this side, all right, and pull that down. Make sure I'm not splitting any yarn here. All right, now what we'll do here is on the inside, these are the two tails we just pulled down. I'm just gonna grab them and I'm gonna pull them. So see how it pulls that pom-pom real nice and snug. All right, so now if I were to just tie the tails in or secure them in, it looks like it could be a little bit snug, right? Like, let's look. It looks like it'd be a little bit snug. It just wants to, I don't know. To me, it could be better, okay? So this is where the button is gonna come in handy. So right now I'm holding the tails on the inside of the hat. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over. These are my tails right here for the pom-pom. One of them is still through the tapestry needle, which is great. I'm gonna take my button here and just thread it through one of the holes on the button, okay? And pull that up. Take my other tail and thread it through one of the other holes on the button. All of a sudden my eye-hand coordination is not working. Okay, so I thread them through the button. Super easy peasy. Give those a little bit of a pull, just like so. Now you're just going to tie it. Don't make a knot or anything. You're just going to make a nice little bow. And what that will do is it will make it so that you can remove this pom-pom should you not want a pom-pom, or maybe you want to change it out for a different color, or maybe you want to wash your hat, but you don't want to ruin your pom-pom. I usually will tie it just like so, and then do another knot just on top. If these are super long, I will then trim them up, not cutting them up real up close, because I want to be able to tie it on later if I need to, right? But now, look at this. Look, if I pop this all around, look at my pom-pom. It is nice and it's substantial. It's on there. It's not moving around. It's just really nice and neat. Let me show you on the overhead camera. Take a look at this. So obviously I have my tails to weave in, but that is my version of the hat that you guys are making. I obviously changed up the colors a little bit. I definitely changed up the pom-pom, and I am a sucker for pom-poms, so you knew my hat was gonna have a pom-pom. And I love having the button on the inside, and every time I do this to a hat and people see the button, they're like, oh my gosh, that's genius. It doesn't hit the top of my head. My hair doesn't get tangled in it. It works really great, and so I love using buttons for the pom-pom. But there you have it. All right, so there's my hat. I'm gonna go ahead and weave in my tails so that way I can wear my hat with pride. You do the same. And as you finish your hat, be sure to share with us on social media. Use hashtag MarleyBird, hashtag YarnSpo, or hashtag HandmadeWithJoann's. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And I really hope you enjoyed using the Ogo yarn. I know I did. I love the color combinations. I love the way it feels as I was knitting with it. And I especially love that it didn't get all tangled up. I will talk to you guys again very soon. I'm Marley Bird, and this is the Marley Bird YouTube channel or Joann's.com. Bye guys.